Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Today I want to share with all of you a book that has made a tremendous impact on my life. And if you've already checked me out on YouTube, you probably know that I'm Catholic, and I believe that it's very important to fill our minds with readings that will point us in the direction of heaven. And this book, called True Friendship by John Kudeback, is one of my all-time favorites. And friendship is a topic that I hold very dear in my personal life because I think for anybody it makes a tremendous impact on your character in regards to what people you allow to become permanent fixtures of your life. And this book is one of the most relaxing spiritual reads I've ever come across. For one thing, the text is presented in a very nice medium-sized font. Here, I'll hold it up so you can see for yourself. And it's not a long or heavy read by any means. It's very easy to get through quickly, but it's also very profound. And you probably already know to some extent that friendship is an important aspect of a person's life, but this book takes you much deeper into it than you probably ever expected to go. And the author's basic thesis is that friendship with man prepares us for friendship with God himself. So our friendships with people around us will prepare us for the ultimate friendship when we die and we meet our heavenly creator. And he does make references to scripture, but I think he relies more heavily on the teachings of Aristotle, which is interesting because Aristotle was just a Greek philosopher. He wasn't Christian, but his writings do show a lot of Christian ideas within them. And my favorite part of the book is that the author describes three principal types of friendship. There's the pleasant friendship, the useful friendship, and the virtuous friendship. And I'll give a little breakdown here. So the pleasant friendship is referring to when two people are friends because they simply enjoy each other's company. Very simple. The useful friendship is when two people are friends because they can render each other a service. And finally, the virtuous friendship happens when two people are friends for the purpose of doing good for each other and supporting each other. So the virtuous friendship is the kind that is completely selfless and is entirely based on virtue, which makes it the ultimate development in friendship. It's the highest level that you can achieve. And that's not to say at all that the other two kinds are bad by any means. In fact, the author talks about how each one of these friendships has a place in society, and in order to achieve the highest level of friendship, you have to start with a lower level and allow yourselves to build upon it as time goes on. And the author goes into this much better than I can throughout the book. But that should at least whet your appetite to really get a chance to read this book and dive into the discussions the author brings up. There's just so much interesting material here that you could talk about for hours, and the author makes a very serious point about how our friends are bound to shape our morals because people naturally want to imitate and act like the people they spend the most time around, which should come as no surprise. I mean, human beings are social creatures. And another thing that I really appreciate about this book is that the author emphasizes the importance of good conversation, which is something that is harder to find in our time with the vast influx of media and what have you. And, people are constantly distracted by technology and screens. And on page 72, he says, "As regards good conversation, then, friendship is a critical aid. True friends want good conversations and will help one another and draw one another into good conversations." And later he says, "There is something irreplaceable about two minds working together in a context of mutual affection and trust to uncover the deepest truths." And I thought that was very profound, and I wanted to make a note of that passage. And something interesting is that people tend to assume that the most devastating kind of experience you can have when it comes to bad relationships is a romantic breakup. But I know from experience that losing a friendship that you really had dedicated yourself to can be just as devastating, if not more. And I really appreciated how this book fully acknowledged that fact, because it delves into the ways that friendship can really affect you for good or for bad, and how beautiful it is when you form a relationship with somebody else of the highest purpose and how much joy it can really bring both parties involved. And in fact, this book even compares friendship to marriage, because it says that, or the author says, that in both cases it involves two people forming a unity that makes them one instead of two. And I thought that was really beautiful, and I never thought of that really in the context of friendship. And he goes into all different kinds of friendships. He talks about how it applies to situations like dating and marriage, friendships with parents, teachers, and mentors, and ultimately how it affects your friendship with God. And he emphasizes that society needs friendship in order to thrive, because if you have a community of people who uphold each other and will help one another strive for the highest goods, that is what builds a strong society. And that's not hard to believe, but I think that is really important for everyone to acknowledge, because, you know, we have to have a strong sense of fellowship and of trying to look out for one another and trying to help each other achieve virtue, because virtue is so severely attacked as time goes on. And I have to say, this book really satisfied my craving for wanting to know something more, because I've always been frustrated when I feel like my peers have treated friendship as simply an opportunity to have fun and not really have taken it as seriously as they could have. And I really wanted to have a chance to delve into some kind of reading and discussion that elaborated on just how important and profound a true friendship really is in a person's life. And this book definitely fulfilled my craving in that regard. So I cannot recommend it highly enough. I think even if you don't necessarily feel you need a book like this, you'll be surprised by just how engaging and surprising and helpful it is. It really is very encouraging, and it'll just really give you that drive to strive for the highest goods when building a relationship with somebody else. So I hope you'll give it a read. And so again, it's True Friendship by John Kudabak, published by Ignatius Press. And no, I was not paid to promote this book. This is just a book review. I am definitely a book reviewer type. I have a tremendous Goodreads account with all these different genres of fiction and nonfiction, and I figured this book is so important I might as well make a video about it. So I hope you found this helpful, and if you like my video, please do hit that like button, and I'll see you the next time. Take care.